Hey guys, we got a fun video today. We went to our local butcher shop and got 10 pounds of beef fat. The plan is to make tallow out of all this fat. Anyways, we got this from a place in Macon called the Butcher Shop, and they sell it by a 10-pound bag, and per pound it's about 99 cents, if I remember right. Yeah, 99 cents per pound. We are actually going to try out a couple of different methods with it. We're gonna try a quick method that's supposed to leave in a lot of the flavor, so you can use it for grilling up other stuff, boiling in it, so it gets a nice healthy like beef broth flavor. And then we're gonna try the other method, which is a lot slower, over in our crock pot, and it's going to take out a lot of the flavor, so we can use it for like pine sap glue or what else can we use it for?
Use your pine sap glue. You can use it to just for, in general, it's a multi-purpose grease.
One thing I did want to point out before we even begin, come here. If you look at it, they have it all in these little rounds on here. So that's not how it would typically come off as. You actually have to cut it into other like sheets and stuff. But other than that, it's going to be pretty much the exact same process and everything. We're starting here.
With it in this shape, it's just going to make it easier for us to melt it down.
Stop looking at my pudge.
All right, that's good. That's good.
That's enough slices.
And that's going to sit. This is going to take quite a while. So this one is our slow render. This one's in the crock pot on low, and it is going to low and slow melt this fat, render it down. We might add some water in there, and then
We should add it now.
So we're gonna add some water in there. Then what's gonna happen is the water's just gonna keep everything kind of lubricated. Then it's gonna melt down. It's gonna separate the impurities. See, there's still like bits of meat. We don't want that. We just want the meat separated from the fat, separated from the impurities, separated from the water. So we melt everything down, and then we pour it into other bowls or jars or something, and then we let it solidify, and then you'll get those distinct layers. So this is the low and slow method that I've seen. And this is like seems to be the most common one, and I think it's the most low maintenance one, just because you put it in, let it melt.
Oh look, it's already going down just by the hot water.
Yeah. So this one over here is our, what I've seen.
Quick and dirty.
Well, I don't say quick and dirty, but yeah, this is the quick and dirty method. Because you may have to do it multiple times. Because you're not doing it low and slow, you are going to bring the fat to a boil, but you're still going to do the same principle of melting everything down, putting it in something else, letting it separate so that you can get the impurities, the broth, and any extra bits. So this one may be less suitable for doing with lotions and things that you're going to put on your body that you may not want to smell beefy. But I am still going to keep it on a fairly low, medium, almost medium heat. I'm not going to put it too high because I don't want it to burn. So, all right. We'll be back in a couple hours. Well, probably in a little while just for this one. A couple hours for the crock pot, though, for updates.
See you in a little bit. Beef fat, after made into tallow, can be used for several different things, like tanning up your leather, or not tanning up, but smoothing out your leathers and using it as a lotion, which it's actually a really good lotion for your own body too. Woo! Lots of steam. Okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Liquid gold. That does not look good. I mean, I guess it kind of looks just like ground beef.
It looks just like ground beef, honestly.
Yeah, definitely needed that bigger pot. Ooh, I steamed up the camera.
Woohoo!
Alrighty.
Yeah, that doesn't look good, but we'll give it out to the chickens or something.
Might dry it up and give it to the dogs. I wonder if this would dehydrate. Here's my cranberry recipe. Not that y'all can't have it. It'll be in the description of the other video. Very nice. We got this at Sam's. If you want to get one
look
at
at
Costco.
the little water line. You can see it.
Yeah. So what's going to happen here is in this bowl, you're going to have the water settle at the bottom, which is essentially going to be a beef broth. Then you have the fat. Ouch, that's hot. Don't touch the bowl. And all of the impurities, the things that didn't get caught by this or anything like that. But because we did with the cloth, there's not going to be as much. You just scrape right off you're going to get like a tallow, what's called a tallow cake. It's the solid fat because it's going to re-solidify because beef fat at room temperature is solid. But yeah, you can kind of see the layers already like starting. It's very cool.
So here's how the slow cooker is doing. It's getting there. Definitely not as fast, but it's slowly cooking down, not nearly as fast. This one's probably still gonna take a few more hours, right? It looks like this slow cooker is just about done melting all the beef fat down. It does still need to be stirred up a few times more.
I think there's definitely some pieces that are closer in the middle that haven't quite rendered down completely. But this is a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot. Sorry guys, I forgot to start recording, so that's my fault. We are removing all the solids that we can.
Puppies! So in the fridge we are starting to look a little bit more solid, but definitely is still very, very soft. Probably gonna leave it in here for a little bit longer, just to be sure.
There was definitely a lot more in this.
Yeah.
Hot? I think that was probably good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Just after 5.
So it just turned 5 minutes after 5. We started this at about noon, I would say. Maybe a little bit before noon.
A little bit before. So
So
it's been
we're right about
5-6 hours. Yep.
5 hours. It took the one in the pot maybe half an hour to get completely melted.
Yeah.
Max.
And it's already almost
So-
solidified, like you said, like you saw.
Yeah. You can really kind
So
of
the
see.
other part that we're gonna have to do is scoop off all this stuff up top,
Mhm.
all this. But that's gonna come after it all solidifies and we take out the block, melt it down a second time. Look at that beauty. So it's the next day, like we promised. We actually had to put the other tallow that was from the crock pot into the freezer, so that one's gonna take a little bit longer. It's still very soft. This one, which has been sitting in the fridge all night, has hardened up so that it's nice and stiff. We're gonna pop it out, throw away all the water, and then we have a jar here that we're going to try to put it in to preserve it. So as we found out online, one of these jars is going for $25 a piece on Amazon, was it?
Yeah. So what might happen is, so I'm just gonna like go around these sides real quick, see if I can't. The lady on TikTok, hers just popped right out.
Well, I popped it out. I just used some hot water from the sink to heat up the sides so it just barely melted, and then just kind of pressed on it and went. Now Valerie says that we got to get the jelly off.
Yeah, scrape all that off. If you get like all like the broth at the bottom is all jellied too.
Yeah.
So if you see here, this kind of darkness right here, this kind of all that stuff, you want it to look nice and white, cake-like, like Crisco or vegetable oil, anything like that. These are just leftover impurities that the strainer and the cheesecloth did not get. So we're gonna scrape those off. It'll be a little bit more difficult just because it's so cold. But you want it to be nice and white. So from what I've read, the tallow is really, really nicely refined and sealed properly. It can last in your stores, on the shelves, unrefrigerated, for about a year if you refrigerate it or you freeze it. Freezing it can, from what I've seen, it can last indefinitely, which I think is wrong to say because of just, it's an organic matter. It's not going to last forever, but it's going to last for such a long time.
Yeah.
It's going to last for such a long time that it's going to feel indefinite. And one of those things is you just want to make sure, regardless of how well you did it, whenever you go to get something from your pantry or your freezer, just make sure it's not rancid, check for weird smells. Your own natural, like, disgust instincts are usually pretty spot on with that sort of thing. If it smells weird and you're getting a weird vibe, probably best to just not.
So I'm just heating it up now.
Because we're on the stove, we just want to make sure that we're not burning it, so we just want to keep an eye on it. And we'll be back in a little bit once this is melted down. So we're all melted here. And we got our bowl clean. Go ahead and pop it in the fridge and then we'll be back.
Actually, I'm gonna pop it in the freezer.
And we'll take the other one out.
And we'll take the other one out.
Okay.
Here's our other one. I'm gonna start by scraping off the top because we didn't use a cloth. We had more little impurities like this. Mm-hmm. I mean, that looks like it's all tallow. I'm just gonna dump it
right into
straight over here, though.
This one was supposed to be low and slow, so you don't have to render it as much, but it turned out so soft that we're gonna have to, like...
Yeah.
But definitely got a decent amount of tallow to, like, stock. So we got on a medium-high heat, and while it's going to hang out with it and stand over it, it will not take very long, especially with it being this soft, so it's nice and warm. More of a room temperature than like the other one, which was very cold.
And even the other one only took like 2 minutes.
As you can tell, this one definitely has a lot more of the impurities in it. So this one probably will take at least 2 more renders.
I think we're ready. I'm going to just melt down the side like I did before, and then take it out and put it right here, and we will see how well it is. Whee! Okay, ready?
Not quite. Oh,
there it is.
There we go. Look how clean. Nice on the bottom. I don't see any debris. I don't see any impurities. I think the last thing to do is just melt it down so we can pour it in the jar. Alrighty, so we forgot to film a step, but here's the gist of what's happening. We refined the second batch of our tallow, the slow cooker one. It looked really, really good, so we went ahead and melted it down and poured it in our jars. Our first batch also went into a jar, so we're looking at about 2 quarts. I think this one's a pint, and then those are 2 little half quarts.
Well, this one's not full.
Not completely full, if you can see. But
so
this was the
it's like 2 quarts, a pint, or half a quart and a pint.
Yeah. So this one is the stovetop one, and all these other came from the crock pot. So we're looking at least 2 full quarts, maybe 2.5 to 3. So yeah, we definitely got our money's worth. This is about how much 10 pounds of beef fat rendered down into, and that was with a lot. If you want to
show the other one too.
Oh yeah, this was from, there's some tallow or some fat, and then also the broth that I reduced down. But
so if we were really good about it, some of this would be over there, but honestly, we're just trying to be safe about it.
This is my flavor jar. It's a flavor enhancer. That's kind of what I'm planning on doing with it. But now we're letting it sit. So we preheated our jars, which you always want to do whenever you're putting something hot in there. We were putting hot, basically boiling fat into these jars. So you preheat your jars, poured it in there. We used a little paper towel with some white vinegar, wipe down the rims, and then you put your lid, put your ring, finger tight, put it into the water bath. We're gonna let that sit for 25 minutes, and then we're gonna take them out slowly to cool. And from there, they should get a really nice seal. Now these should last upwards of a year, at least a year, on a shelf. But if we choose to freeze them, then they should last a really, really long time. So we'll see you in a little while. I think we're gonna wait until we actually take them out and they're all like pretty and nice and ready to go on the shelf. So see you in a second.
Okay guys, it is the next and final night or day of this project. This is all the tallow that we got from our experiment stuff. This is the one that we got from Quickly Doing It. It is a little bit liquidy, if you can see that.
It's fairly warm today.
But
so.
it is fairly warm today. I'm surprised that a couple of these other ones are not more liquidy. But as you can see, all of the tops are pressed down, including this one. And they are going to be going on our storage shelves. I think we're using this one first, just because it's not full. And then we are going to probably update you like next year to see how long this lasts, and obviously whenever we have videos we want to do with these. But yeah, this is going to be the end of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!
Bye!